This is the plaintiff, Lisa Halstead. She says the defendant's vicious Rottweiler attacked her poor pooch Mocha and nearly killed her. Mocha's like her daughter. The defendant thinks the attack was a big joke or something. Well, she's here suing for the $10,000 she's owed. This is the defendant, Melinda Leon. She says this case is a case of mistaken dog identity because her dog is super friendly. He never got loose, and he never attacked anyone's dog. She feels badly for what happened to the plaintiff's dog, but she's simply not the responsible party. She's accused of having vicious propensities.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leon is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Halstead, you are suing Ms. Leon for $10,000, a statutory maximum in your state of New York, for damages to your dog, because according to you, her dog attacked your dog. Tell me what happened.
On February 5th, my sister was walking my two dogs, Mocha and Miley, and she said that she felt a presence
okay, is your
of
sister,
danger.
Can I just ask you a question? Is your sister present to testify? Because you weren't there.
She's next to me.
Can you switch places with her? Let's start with her first.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Hi.
Hello. Hi,
Okay.
Your Honor.
So why don't you tell me what happened?
On February 5th, 2021, it was about maybe between 4 and 4:45. I was walking westbound on 116th Avenue toward 227th Street. As I was walking with the family dogs, our two puppies, I felt a presence, some sort of danger, and my instinct told me to look behind. As I looked behind, I saw a black dog with silver spikes around his collar run from across the street as if to attack me.
Okay.
I froze. At that time, I still had my two dogs with me, and as I froze, one of the dogs jumped in front as if to protect me. As she did that, the black dog, which had no owner with him and unleashed, attacked the dog and held the dog by his neck like a rag doll and just held on and just kept shaking the dog from left to right. I screamed, I yelled, I didn't know what to do. And at that point, I was holding the other dog to protect that dog from this black dog. As I screamed and I yelled, I did everything to release our dog out of this dog's mouth. And I did. I had success.
And then?
Someone, Melinda, apparently or allegedly, ran from the same direction of the dog and in a laughing manner said, "Not my dog." And she said it twice. And as she ran away, the dog followed her command and ran with her.
Just a moment. What was it that the person who approached the dog said, "Not my dog"?
Not my dog.
And was laughing?
She was laughing. She thought
it was funny
said,
that your dog was eaten?
Apparently.
Okay. And did you say, "Stop, I need your name, who are you," or follow her or see where she walked or anything?
I was so distraught. My dog was laying in blood as if she seemed to be dead. I was scared. I had my cell phone. I called my family right away.
Is Mocha your dog or your sister's dog?
It's my sister's dog.
Okay. Can I speak to your sister again now?
Sure.
Okay. You took Mocha to the vet, correct?
Yes.
And according to you, there's $4,000 in hospital bills. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happens once you get Mocha. You know, you go to the scene and you get your dog. Tell me what happens.
Okay, so my sister called and all I could hear was Mocha's dead, Mocha's dead. I didn't know what she was saying. I jumped into my car. I saw her standing there crying and my dog was lying in blood and mud. We only saw 4 wounds, like open cuts. And so I said, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. So we wrapped her up and she just would not stop crying. She would not stop shaking. When I brought her in, the vet said if I had not brought her in, she would have died. Because of the way she was shaking and they were able to touch her, they said they could feel the internal damage. So most of the damage was internal. She had to have emergency surgery.
Okay. So from what I understand from your sister, she doesn't know who the person was who took the dog, other than that they were very sinister and laughed and said, not my dog, not my dog. And she doesn't know where they went because she was freaking out so much about what had just happened. So
Yes.
what do you do? Because at that point, you have no clue who it is either. And so what do?
So I created flyers and decided to offer $1,000 reward. And we literally went door to door in the neighborhood asking people if they saw this dog, if they knew who the dog was. Finally, I did get somebody who called and said, I know who the dog is. I know where the dog lives.
Okay, when
And
you
so
say the
we
dog, your flyer said what? Let's see what your flyer said. My dog was attacked on Friday by an unleashed large black dog with a collar that had silver spikes at 116 and 227. The reward will be given to anyone who has any information on the identity of the owner of this dog. Did anybody claim the $1,000 reward?
Yes.
What did the person do? Point to the defendant walking a big black dog in that area?
No. The person gave me a name and said, I think the dog lives in that house. So actually her neighbor told us that the people in that house have a black Rottweiler. So the same person who told me who the dog owner was called me and said, another day and said, she's walking the dog right now.
Okay.
And so I was actually at the vet with Mocha. So my sister, Stephanie, and her daughter drove over to her house and waited to take a picture of her walking the dog that she said was not my dog.
Well, you have a picture of someone walking a black dog. Is that you, Ms. Leon?
Yes, it looks like, yes, it is.
It is you. And is that your dog?
Yes, it is.
So, was it your dog?
No, it wasn't.
How do you know?
Because my dog is a puppy and he's only 1 year old and he's super friendly and he doesn't even have a spike collar and he's never outside the gate alone.
Has your dog ever gotten loose in the neighborhood?
No.
Do you have any evidence, Ms. Halstead, that Ms. Leon's dog has gotten loose in the neighborhood? And I'm not talking about people saying they saw a black dog. I'm talking about citations against Ms. Leon for having a loose dog.
No.
Do you have any testimony to provide to me today from any witness who has actually knows that a loose dog came from her house? Like, you want to keep anonymous the person who turned her in, but
yeah.
Do you know anybody else who's going to be testifying that, oh, her dog gets out all the time, that lady's dog gets out all the time? You don't have any such evidence, correct?
No, but I do have my sister who identifies Melinda as the girl who ran up and said, not my
Because
dog.
I was waiting for that, and what your sister said is allegedly, apparently, that's what your sister said. She didn't say that's the lady who came up, but let's hear what your sister has to say. Put your sister back on and let me hear what she has to say.
Yeah.
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Stephanie Halstead.
Okay, Ms. Halstead, are you identifying positively Ms. Leon as the person who came out there and talked to you that day and made, sinisterly said, not my dog, and laughed?
Yes.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says her pooch was nearly killed by the defendant's crazed Rottweiler, but the defendant, saying her dog is clean, didn't do the deed, and the defendant has proof. Let's go back into the courtroom.
How can you be so sure when you were describing yourself as near hysterical, unable to follow her to see where she lived? How is it that you are able to, from one moment, identify her?
it was a few seconds that I was able to see her run from across the street where her dog came. And I saw her in that split second say, "Not my dog," and then she ran. The reason why I couldn't run was Mocha was on the
I don't even need to go over that again. Of course you couldn't run. You had other things that you were worried about. It was very traumatic. I've been in your shoes. I watched a dog, my neighbor's dog, kill my cat like a rag doll. I know how traumatic it is. I've got to decide something here. And what I've got to decide is if you guys have the right dog. You know, someone says there's a big black dog here and they get $1,000 and that's it. That's the evidence that it's this dog. Ms. Leon, has your dog ever attacked another dog?
Never.
Has your dog ever attacked a person?
Never.
Do you have any, let me speak to the other Ms. Halstead. Do you have, in any of the pictures or evidence that you've been able to take since somebody said, hey, she has a big black dog, have you ever witnessed the dog with a collar with spikes?
No. And the only way I got that information was from people who live around.
I know, but you need to understand, Ms. House said, I am so sorry that this happened. It had to be incredibly traumatic, especially for your sister. Mm-hmm. I know. Mm-hmm. And you're out a lot of money. I know that. And you've given me 50 pictures, and you've proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that your dog was attacked by a black dog. The thing where you're thin as can be is that that's the dog that did it. You offer somebody $1,000 for pointing out a black dog, and then you sue the person who owns the black dog. I mean, that's basically what I have, and it's just too thin. So I'm very sorry, but based on this evidence, I'm ruling in favor of the defendant.
So, Ms. Halstead, I'm sorry, but your case fell short. The judge found against you. How do you feel right now?
I'm not happy.
How is the dog, by the way? The bottom line here.
She's better than ever.
She's okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Sorry you lost the case, but I'm glad she's doing better. All righty. Ms. Leon, were you worried? I mean, did you think you had a chance of losing this case and being slapped with a $10,000 lawsuit?
No way. I know it wasn't my dog.
Do you have any idea?
I have
whose
no
dog it was?
idea.
Have you seen the dog in the neighborhood?
No, but if I were in her shoes, when she pulled out her phone calling her house, she should have took a picture of the person and the dog at the same time.
Yeah, no, but you're right. You're absolutely right. She should have done that. Although at that moment, that's not what she was thinking about doing. And I understand.
Yeah.
I think you do too. All right. Well, thank you very much. You're off the hook.
So, Doug, I mean, look, in a situation like this, you need to prove the perp. In this case, you need proof that the black dog that ran away was the defendant's Rottweiler, and maybe it smells like that, but that's not enough. You need to prove it, and the plaintiff fell short.
Who dresses John for the show when you two talk after the case? He's a sharp dresser. I'm guessing Judge Marilyn picks out those clothes.
Well, I seldom pick out your clothes. You have become a very sharp dresser on your own. There's a running joke among my friends that you dress impeccably for court, and when you're dressed up, and then you do not dress impeccably. When you're in sport clothes, you have T-shirts with holes in them, and
well, remember when we
bands
first
from
met?
the '80s. And when we first met,
I wasn't a great dresser.
No, you were beautiful, and I was very excited, and I was telling my friends, oh, he's going to meet us here, blah, blah, blah. And then you walked out, and you were wearing a shirt and pants that had clearly been in your dryer for maybe a week.
Right. Horribly wrinkled.
And my girlfriends were needling me, and I said, I can work with that. Don't worry about that. But so this is our clothes. It's always our clothes.
Right.
But there is an expert who picks out our clothes so that we kind of, our wardrobe person.
Yeah, it's funny though.
Patty.
The clothes that I wear are just clothes, mostly stuff that was in my closet before I started coming on the show, right?
Right.
And just, I found some shirts that fit, and I just buy from one particular company. But a lot of credit goes to you for making sure I don't walk out of the house in conflicting colors or something. And to Patty, our wardrobe person, who makes sure that, hey, you have stuff that kind of matches and, doesn't look ridiculous.
Yeah.